What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for P Valley Season 2, Episode 9. So we are almost at the end, child. We are almost at the end. So we start this episode off. It is the day before Election Day, and I guess everybody is getting desperate, child. Andre got the ladies from the Pank doing ads for him and campaigning for him, twerking and everything else, child. Talking about all the great things he going to do for Chuckalisa. Bringing the casino gonna bring money and revenue, improve the schools, improve the roads, you know, all that yada yada yada. Well, here come, so they're outside at a campaign event. Andre's doing an interview with the local news and everything, and who come riding down the street on a flatbed truck with a makeshift, with a portable pole, is Pastor Woodbine, and she is on that pole, and I was like, wow. Like, if I lived in Chuckalisa, I ain't voting for either one of these crazy people, right? But she proceeds to talk about, you know, what she gonna do. And then she talks about how they tried to bribe her to drop out of the race. And she produces these two money guns and proceeds to shoot the money from the money guns into the crowd, right? So then we cut to Grandma Ernestine in the hospital. Now, she is hallucinating. She is seeing her daughter, who again is trying to get her to come with her. Come on, mama. Come on, mama. And she's like, no, I'm not ready to go. No, I'm not ready to go. We see her. She's hallucinating because she thinks that the nurse who's trying to give her some water is her daughter, and she's going crazy. They need to, they got to basically, a bunch of nurses have to come in and end up sedating her or what have you. Now, she's like, no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. And so what I'm saying is, I took that as hopefully positive thinking that grandma ain't going nowhere no time soon. She feel like she got unfinished business and she not ready to go yet. Later, at the end of the episode, we see Uncle Clifford get a phone call from the hospital, but we don't see what the conclusion is in this episode. I don't feel like the hospital was calling her to tell her that mama gone. But anyway, so then we cut to Murder and Uncle Clifford playing house. You know, they getting it in over the breakfast table. And they end up having the same conversation that I feel like they keep having, which is basically, you know, what is this? Like, you know, we're living in our own little world right now. Things are good. Everything is great. We're having sex over the breakfast table and we walking around half naked and life is good. But we know that that's not the real world. We know that that's not our reality. At some point, we got to go back out and we got to join. You know, he asked him about, listen, you got one of the hottest songs on the radio. He was like, how it feel to be, you know, internationally famous and not just locally famous. And, you know, he's like, listen, I'm still trying to figure it out. And, Uncle Clifford was like, are you going on tour? You know, what are you going to do? And he said, well, you know, that's what they want me to do, but I haven't decided yet. And he even asked Uncle Clifford to come with him, but Uncle Clifford was like, now, boy, you already know that ain't, you know, that's not going to be the answer. And then, of course, it ends up coming down to Uncle Clifford reminding him of Murder Night. And Little Murder was like, so I guess I ain't going to never live that down. You know, like, I ain't going to never live down Murder Night, you know. So then we go down to the club and we see Mississippi having a conversation with Haley. And basically they're talking about the escape plan. They're talking about her leaving and she's scared. She's nervous about it working out. Haley telling her, girl, it's going to work. And then Haley letting Mississippi know, listen, I'm leaving. She said, this was never a permanent plan for me. Like, my plan was always, to find that next spot. You know, I don't sit around and I don't stay. I ain't gonna stay here, you know. And she tells her, you'll be all right. You and your babies are gonna be good. We're gonna get y'all out of here. We got the plan set. You just gotta follow the rules. Do what I told you to do. We're gonna get you that money and you're gonna be good. And I'm gonna be right behind you. And so she asked Haley, well, where are you going? And Haley told her, well, wouldn't you like to know? She said, well, I just want to make sure you're not, that you following your own rules, right? So then we see her going in the back into the kitchen, and who's in the kitchen frying up some wings is Diamond. And they get to having a conversation a little bit. You know, he was like, you need, She was like, I'm sorry, if I knew you were back here, I wouldn't have came back here. He was like, well, if I knew you was coming, I wouldn't have been here either. Um, but they end up talking just a little bit. I mean, nothing deep, but at least they breaking the ice kind of thing. He asked her if she wants some water for her water bottle, and he's filling up her water bottle. Well, here come big body, full body, body, whatever. And she was like, she might be thirsty, but I'm hungry. I need you to finish up them wangs. So the ladies are practicing, and Mercedes is still struggling. I mean, she was able to get up on the pole, but she's still having a hard time holding it. She's still having a hard time just being able to do whatever she was doing before, and it'd be flawless. Roulette is being her nasty ass self, making her smart ass comments about her being too old and stuff like that. But Roulette did bring up a good point. She said, listen, you waited too long. Like, you fall, you gotta get back up. You fall, but now you're scared to fall. And I do think it's a combination of Mercedes being scared to fall, but of course we know that place got them evil spirits and the juju for murder night. Now, Haley makes the suggestion that Mississippi go up and Mercedes acts as Mississippi base, and Mercedes is like, hell nah. Like, no, I'm not gonna base for her. Like, that's not how this goes. Like, basically, I'm HBIC up in this bitch, and that's what I'm gonna do. So Haley lets her know that Mississippi gonna be the headliner, and basically she lost her spot. So Mississippi was like, Mercedes is like, well, screw this. Like, I'm the headliner. I'm who people coming to see. So if I ain't gonna be the headliner, then I ain't coming. And she walks out and she tears up the poster and all that stuff. So Uncle Clifford goes behind her and he tries to give her, Uncle Clifford's rule number 5,672. And she was like, Uncle Clifford, fuck your rules. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of your rules. Like, at the end of the day, she said, tell me the truth. Am I past my prime? And basically Uncle Clifford tells her, listen, sometimes you just got to dream different dreams. And he tells her the story about dreaming about a castle and one of them damn metaphors that he's given. And she said, you talking about me or you talking about yourself? And, he was like, well, I guess I'm talking about me too. Because he was talking about how he thought the pink was going to be his dream. And it ended up not being the dream that he thought it was going to be or he needed it to be. And she said, I should have been out of here. Like, I should have been out of here. Like, I've definitely, like, she knows in her heart of hearts that she needs to find whatever that next thing is, And remember that she wasn't supposed to still be there, but for bad decisions that she made, that other people made for her, that's why she is where she is, So she gets a phone call while she's talking to Uncle Clifford from Farrah. And Farrah asked her to come down to Memphis. Now, I ain't gonna lie, when she got that phone call, I said, Farrah done convinced Coach to give Mississippi Mercedes her money. But when she gets down there, Farrah has taken those pictures that she took of Mercedes on the pole into a whole art exhibit called The Mercedes Experience. And you could see the look on Mercedes' face at seeing herself that way. The pictures were absolutely gorgeous. They were absolutely gorgeous. But to see those pictures and, Farrah, of course, asked her to, basically, let's hook up again, this time for pleasure, not necessarily with business. And Mercedes was like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen. But you could see how proud she was in that moment. And it's almost like, we talked about this on the panel yesterday, it's almost like after this, we saw a different Mercedes. Like, she seemed to be a little calmer, She seemed to kind of be okay with where she was as far as the club not being the place she need to be. You know what I'm saying? It is the grand reopening of the club, and everybody's getting ready. And who ends up getting sick in the bathroom? Haley. And who comes up behind Haley? Whisper, talking about, you ready for twins? So y'all know Whisper is supposed to be like this clairvoyant or whatever, and we find out. So I guess that's how their way of letting us know that Haley pregnant with Andre's babies. Outside of the pink, of course, everybody is lined up to get into the pink, and they're charging like $60 at the door because they can only work at 50% capacity, and so they're basically trying to make it up by charging more to get in. But we see both clubs, I mean both we see the gangs trying to get in. Remember this whole gang war popped off last week. Well, we find out that Murder is going to go on tour with Tina Snow, aka Meg Thee Stallion, and he is advertising that the first stop of the tour is going to be at the Pank. So everybody get their ass down to the Pank. So we see Uncle Clifford outside with your girl that shut them down from the health department. She out there making sure that he don't operate at over 50% capacity. So they convinced her to let them go up to 75%, but he had to pimp out Big L for the pleasure child. He had to pimp out Big L. But so Uncle Clifford, of course, he's like, oh my goodness, why did he make that announcement that we're gonna be that that Tina Snow gonna be at the club? But of course, excited at the same time because they need that. They need the revenue, they need the money, they need the attention, and it ain't never a bad thing. So Uncle Clifford goes in the back to check on the girls. Child Toya's still sneezing, and Uncle Clifford goes off on Toya. I mean, he goes off on her. He blames her for for grandmama having COVID, and he blames her for the club shutting down. He blames her for everything, and he puts her out. He tells her she ain't welcome there, and he literally puts her out. Now listen, some people felt like it was a bit extreme, but he's in his feelings because he really feels like she's the reason why his grandmother, in his mind, and he already got his grandmama dead. He said, you killed my grandmother. And he keeps talking about her as if she's already dead. Now, this before he get the phone call from the hospital. This is just in his head. He's convinced himself that his grandmother's going to die. So, some people felt like he was a little hard on Miss Toya. We found out later on that Toya about to get evicted from her apartment. She about to get her car repossessed. Her electricity, like everything is going bad. Anything that could go bad for Toya Child is going bad for Toya. And she ends up making a deal with, the devil, aka Roulette. Roulette Roulette is swimming in money now. Roulette done turned into a whole pimp child. She done showed up in designer clothes and she got the bankroll, and Whisper convinces her to give Toya some of that money. And Toya was like, I'll pay you back. She said, oh, this ain't no loan. This your paycheck. So she gonna get her in on this whole little situation they got going on, pimping her out or whatever. And so I guess we'll see how that folds out later. In the meantime, Tina Snow and Lil Murder done showed up down to the Pank. And of course, the other gang, they are convinced that Lil Murder is the reason why, what's his name? Roddy, the reason why he's dead. Like, they're convinced that he did it. So Maine is there with his boys, and, they going into the club. Now, we see Tina Snow meet up with Uncle Clifford, and Uncle Clifford and Lil Murder, they kind of flirting a little bit, but not really out loud, but a little bit, but more than they probably should be. And Uncle Clifford is jealous of Tina, and Murder is jealous of who is in the VIP waiting for Uncle Clifford. Cause Uncle Clifford, they let Uncle Clifford know that he got a client waiting on him. And Murder is like, since when you start servicing people? Like, since when you are part of the attraction? And so they both jealous of each other, and it sort of shows. And so again, that's another reason why Uncle Clifford don't need to go on tour, because y'all cover will be blown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now Uncle Clifford goes to the VIP or the paradise room, what have you, and who is in there? Colin with his whip, begging Uncle Clifford to whip him. And him and Uncle Clifford ain't been in a good space since last year, when Uncle Clifford really blamed him for selling the club out, for the casino. So he asked Uncle Clifford, he said, listen, come on, nobody does it like you. Now, we remember last year he was into bondage and S&M and stuff. And he tells Uncle Clifford, nobody does it like you. Like, nobody does it quite like you. Like, I need you to beat me. Like, I need it, like, for real. And Uncle Clifford is just like, yeah, I don't know about all of that. He said, okay. He said, how much did Autumn buy the club for? He said $250,000. He said, all right, that's what you got. You got $250,000. Well, hell, I mean, for 250,000, I'll whoop your ass, okay? So of course, Uncle Clifford, he did the deed. Later on, we see Colin come out and he's still bleeding. I mean, he's still bleeding through his shirt, but he is happy as he can be. That celebrating because, of course, they're celebrating that hopefully Andre is gonna win this daggone election, and Andre catches Autumn not drinking her shot because he got shots for everybody. And he said something to her about it. She was like, "Oh, well, I just want to be sober for this moment." But of course, he kind of side-eyed her a little bit, and he asked her. I mean, and at a certain point, she was like, "Listen, let's get out of here. Like, I just want to get out of here. I just want to get away from everybody and just get out of here." So we see them leave off, and we see them kissing and damn near tearing each other's clothes off as he walks in the house. And I knew then, I said, his wife's sitting there. The way it happened, I said, his wife's sitting there. Somebody's sitting in that living room. And of course, it was his wife, child. So, there's that. But I don't know how she got any ground to stand on. You was having, like, you was giving fellatio in your bedroom with your husband. So, I don't know, child. Both of y'all got y'all shit with y'all. Now, back inside the club, we got Duffy and Roulette. Duffy's still trying to push up on Roulette. Roulette trying to tell him, listen, you don't want no parts of this. And then he ends up, finger popping her right there in the hallway, child. I don't know what that was about, but I feel like later on we might need to know. So I'll just throw that in there, child. Then we have Lil Murda and Miss Tina Snow performing, and of course it was what it was. They're going to give you the little performance or whatever. And while they're performing, a fight breaks out between the two gangs. It ends up being a whole melee on stage. Diamond has to come in with his whole gun. I didn't even know Diamond was working security again, child. But Diamond working security. And they end up breaking up the fight. He gets Mississippi off stage because Mississippi was stuck on stage. Oh, let me rewind that. Before we get to that part, Mercedes is there. She's watching Mississippi on stage. And she's genuinely happy for her. And Maine comes up and he says, she dancing like this her last dance. And Mississippi was like, I think it might be. And you just see that there was a real moment between the two of them. Like, it was just a genuine moment between the two of them. And then they have the fight. Now, once Diamond gets Mississippi off the stage, they get backstage and she kisses him. Now, listen, she leaned in for the kiss first, but hell, he ain't walk away. He kissed her back, and who saw it in the reflection from the mirror? Big body, She saw it. Now, while Lil Murda was on stage, Lil Murda, he slid Uncle Clifford a little wink. Now, again, I don't know who caught it. I don't know if anybody caught it, but see, that's why they don't really need to be around each other because they don't know how to control themselves. They don't know how to control themselves. But anyway, so, So then we backstage. Lil Murda is pissed off. Lil Murda is mad. He kicking stuff. He fighting the air. He want Uncle Clifford to let him back out there. And Uncle Clifford was like, you need to stay back here. You don't need to go out there. And he lets, and he said something about, he gonna kill that. He gonna, kill him, this, that, and the other. And he said something about doing it again. And Uncle Clifford was like, so is that what I covered up for you? Is that what I helped cover up for you the other night when you showed up at my house? And he was like, no. He said, that was far from that. He said, not that night. So he's insinuating that, yes, it was. And Uncle Clifford was like, well, listen, you need to lay low. Like, you got too much to lose. You don't need to be out there. Like, you need to stay in here and calm your ass down. So Uncle Clifford, he ends up leaving. Uncle Clifford gets mad and he ends up kicking a box. And what comes falling out the box? Them damn pills. And of course, he immediately knows it's Big L, so he goes to get Big L, and he goes off on Big L. He is cussing Big L out. He was like, I told you I didn't want no parts of these drugs. I told you what ends up happening. Like, you end up, and it almost is like Uncle Clifford maybe has gone down this road before, or somebody he knew went down this road before. Again, on the panel, we bounced around the idea that maybe this is what happened to his mom, or maybe somewhere, in the club's history, it's kind of been a situation, but he lets them know that he don't want no parts of this. And he basically ends up firing Big L. And Big L was like, what? I'm fired after everything I've done for you? Because he told Uncle Clifford he need to get rid of Haley. Like, Lil Murda, Uncle, Lil Haley. Anyway. But, But anyway, so he's like, really? He was like, that, like, that's what you gonna do for me? And as soon as Big L left the room, you saw Uncle Clifford regret it. You saw him regret it, but he didn't go after him. But you saw that he regretted it, immediately. So now, while this is going on, we got Mercedes and Lil Murder in the Paradise room, and they're kind of talking, and she was like, it's been a long time since I seen you, and he's telling her he's just trying to calm down, and everything with everything, and he's got this new music he's listening to. So you see Mercedes listen to the song, and you see her calming him down. They're talking, she's able to calm him down, and she's listening to the song. She's letting him know it's all right. The song is pretty good. I think before this night is over, Mercedes will dance, and maybe she'll dance to this particular song, because y'all know Mercedes good for putting on. She's done that before, like heard a song she liked and just decided she was gonna dance to it, right? Now, while this is going on, Big Body is outside looking at pictures of her and Diamond, and we see it's a picture of her holding up that ring, and it looked like she sent that picture to somebody. Now, my thing is, I feel like Big Body's been an op from the beginning, but she got caught up and caught feelings for Diamond. But now that Diamond done hurt her little feelings because she saw him kissing Mississippi, now she's sending that picture of the ring to the people she was supposed to be, getting information from, Montoya's people, whoever the man is, because he said that last year to Haley. He said they're gonna come looking for me, and I feel like they were just looking for proof, and that ring is proof. I think she knew what that ring was all along. She was playing dumb when she was talking to Diamond. And so I feel like they're going to show up next episode, child. I feel like, I don't know. Then we see Uncle Clifford and Mississippi basically say goodbye. We see Mississippi writing a message to Mercedes on her mirror. And Uncle Clifford walked in. And Uncle Clifford was like, so you wasn't going to say goodbye to me, Heifer? And she said, well, I didn't think you wanted to hear from me. And, they have a moment. They have a real tender moment. And basically like, listen, I know I was mad at you, but you my baby. You one of mine. And they have a tender moment, and that's where the episode ends. So next week is the finale, and it says to be continued. So I figure next week's episode is gonna pick up right. It's still the same night. So we'll see. But let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.